3,000.
What is doing? My name's Maloney. This is the 3000 podcast. I'm joined today by not just a DJ, an international party DJ. That's what it says on your bio anyway.
It does. That's
Mafia,
for so
thanks
long.
for coming.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. So we had Hijack in last week, who's also an international party DJ.
He is the international party DJ. I'm just the pretend one.
And you're also a new Peninsula resident, so it's cool that we're adding cool people to our space of the world.
The niche, it's where it's at, baby. Come on. Yeah, I love it.
All right, so let's do a bit of a deep dive into how you got to be an international party DJ in Melbourne. And your story, I believe you were born not in Melbourne, but maybe in South Australia.
The Adelaides, yes, the Radelaide. Yes, I was born in 1973, as we were just saying, the same year as hip-hop. So it was meant to be. I was born on 5 days before Christmas, and you want the full story? Here we go. You're going to get the full story. My mum's doctor was away on a Christmas holiday, so her brother had to deliver me, but her brother is a well-known gynecologist. Right. And the whole story was her going, "You don't look at my fanny." And he's like, "Hey, shut up, it's better than looking at your face." So I came in with comedy. I'm going to go out with comedy. I was born under weird circumstances and very tiny, little. So I'm a little person. My mum was so worried I was going to be so tiny that she just fed me, and hence, I got some junk in my trunk. Sorry I'm talking to the camera as well because I'm such an actor.
There's no hiding that the cameras are right there.
So I was born under pretty wacky circumstances, and I was actually born dead on arrival, so I was full of mucus, and they had to just kind of get that all out of me. And my mum didn't want to have a boy, which is pretty hilarious because I turned out gay and dressed like a boy, because she'd had two boys, so she desperately wanted a daughter. Yeah. And she's like, "Is it a girl? Is it a girl?" And they're like, "Shut up, it's fucking dead."
Oh no.
So this is how I was brought into the world, apparently.
So how do you find hip hop in Adelaide in the late 70s, early 80s?
So I went to a pretty diverse school, but also in my neighbourhood there were two boys. I grew up with a lot of boys. I had two brothers, and there was lots of boys around. Up until I was about 12, and these three beautiful girls rocked in opposite my house. So I finally had some other chicks, and there was my best friend next door as well, who was also a little bit older, so I couldn't really hang out with her. So I hung out with my childhood friends Bradley and Simon, and both of them were into whatever was in at the time, and that was BMX riding, skateboarding, and then this new thing called hip-hop, or we called it rap back then. And my parents always had friends going to the States, so they would pay them to bring back Reeboks and bring back sneakers. And then I asked them to bring back this hip hop record, which was Learn How to Breakdance. And it had a poster inside, right? So
this
me
is
and
how to do the windmill.
This is right. So me and my friends popped this thing up, and we practiced. But at the time I was a gymnast as well. I was doing gymnastics since I was 3 or 4 years old. And so I knew how to backflip, so we started doing these competitions. This kind of stuff came naturally to me because I was a dancer too, doing calisthenics and dance, whatever. I was doing everything. Yep. And we'd get the lino out and we'd start breaking up. I actually got footage, so I'll send it to you.
Amazing.
Because Simon, one of my friends, Baby Legs, we had Baby Legs Body Rock, and I was Fluoro Breaker ahead of my time because I loved Fluoro Pink. Hasn't changed.
Yeah.
So, Simon's dad had a VHS camera, kind of the massive camera with the bag that held the tape. So we've got footage of us breakdancing on Simon's, I think, 11th or 12th birthday.
Amazing.
Me doing my little body rocking and my spin wheel and my knee spin and a backflip. And, so we were winning a lot of competitions, but it was very kind of suburban hip-hop, and I actually did cop a lot of flack for it, maybe when I moved to Melbourne, and I was an actor for a very long time and then got a job in a record store. I'm probably jumping ahead. Yeah. But I got a lot of flack from a lot of the so-called OG heads in Melbourne because they were like, "Where were you? Who were you? We never knew you back then."
Yeah, but I didn't realise there was places other than Melbourne.
There was a scene in Adelaide, but I wasn't part of the graph hip-hop scene because I was doing everything. I was dance, acting, calisthenics, recorder, violin. No way. They didn't come till way later. Okay. Yeah. So I was a breakdancer first.
Breakdancer. Okay.
Yeah.
So then you're doing these little competitions with your crew. What was your crew called?
Oh, we didn't have a crew name.
mean,
We
everyone
just
had-
had our own names. And my mum made us puff paint jumpers with the hood and the name. Oh, it was the best.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But you didn't have a crew name, so you've got your crew. You're doing
Yeah.
your battles. Were they battles or competitions?
Yeah, there were competitions. So we would win trophies and I would win all the trophies. Because most of the girls at the back were just doing this with their arms and I'm flipping.
So you were
and
mixing
doing-
with the boys early.
I was always a tomboy, always. I wanted to dress like the boys. My brothers had like the best style and the sneakers and everything, and I just so wanted to wear them. But my mum, as I said, was desperate for a girl, so would dress me until I was in my mid-teens because I was Greek mother. And you don't argue with them. But I did have a fight with her one day and was just like, one day all I'm going to wear is sneakers and jeans. And she's like, you will never. But look at me now.
Now,
Yeah.
it's like that. You've rebelled because she repressed you having your own style.
Yeah.
And now you're extremely passionate about your style.
Absolutely. And, and full circle, mum's come around so much. And I think she's kind of proud of that in her own way. But it was a battle because, you're coming against a very kind of Greek, traditional, semi-traditional, but, what it is to be a woman, what it is to be a girl. And I was just like, well, I only know what it's like to be a dude. I want to do all the things that dudes want to do, including loving girls.
And we can
So-
get to that, but that's hard for a lot of Greek families to understand.
Absolutely. And it took a long time. I didn't come out till I was 40.
Yeah.
So I had a really late coming out because I didn't want to upset my parents and I didn't want to make them feel like they'd done something wrong because, systemic homophobia within yourself as well as a gay person is very real. So you've got to break down the fact that I did it because I was like, I'm 40 and how do they not know where I'm living and who I'm dating? And it just felt weird.
Yep.
If I had a daughter, I'd want to know. So, but that's a whole nother podcast.
Well, yeah, for sure. I think it's definitely something that needs to be tackled. But obviously, you're a little bit older than I am. But in the now, people being gay, it's totally normal.
Acceptable.
But it's in the 80s, it was different.
Absolutely.
And if you add a traditional ethnic family to the fold,
Absolutely.
it's different again.
Absolutely. Although, my parents took me to so many shows and we went to every musical, Starlight Express, my favourite, every musical, and we went to, they had, in the rumpus room, they had like framed portraits of all the what are they called, the programs from all the shows. And it was like Elton John, Celine Dion, Liberace. I'm like, hello? I grew up with all this stuff being indoctrinated into me.
Yeah.
My mum is the biggest fag hag ever, I've realised.
Yeah.
And, they knew a lot of gay people too, but it's different when it's your daughter and it's in the family. But, they've come around and they've come leaps and bounds. With that, with the DJing, with all of my decisions, because I left home very early to come to Melbourne, and which was really unusual for a Greek girl in the family.
For sure. Like, I've got Greek friends that still live at home in their 40s because
Yeah.
that's what you're sort of supposed to do.
If you're not married, yeah. And I would have been stuck there because it was like, I can't be out and with my family. What?
So you were always going to come to Melbourne. Did you think about Sydney, but you just thought, I'm outgrowing Adelaide a little bit? Did you?
Oh, no. I auditioned for VCA for the College of the Arts because I wanted to be an actor. Okay. So I auditioned when I was 16, way too young. Didn't know I was too young. And then they were like, come back the next year. And so I just worked a part-time job or whatever, did my own thing, and then went back and got in. I was the youngest person ever to get into this school.
Wow.
And it was like so life-changing for me. And I was really lucky that my parents let me go because there was a discussion unbeknownst to me that I wasn't going to come.
Right.
And my mum was like, to my dad, she's a square peg in a round hole here. Yep. She knew. And she's like, if we don't let her do this, she's going to resent us. We have to let her go. And I knew once I was gone, I'm never coming back. Adelaide was too small for me.
Yeah.
And then that's where I kind of discovered not only, acting and being by myself, but also music in a way where I hadn't before. Mm-hmm. Like it had started earlier in Adelaide when TLC came out, that band, the girl band, and I realised you could dress like a boy and it's quite acceptable and they looked fucking awesome.
Yeah, the baggy jeans.
I started doing that.
Tops and stuff.
Yeah, and I started doing that when I was like 15, 16, and we'd get so many looks down Rundle Mall. So, coming to Melbourne, it was like, whatever,
you're
I had
accepted.
cornrows, I had it all,
So when you got to Melbourne, you felt like this was a bit more of a cultural home for you.
Absolutely.
And it opened your eyes to what else was out there.
Well, look at it. I mean, we are a cultural hub, and we have had so many, like, not only with theatre, but dance and music. And, like, I discovered so much about myself here that I probably never would have if I stayed in Adelaide. So, go Melbourne!
So when you got here, you're doing the acting thing, you're working sort of part-time and that sort of thing?
I was a Wilderness Society koala, which
Really?
was
With the
horrible.
With the bucket where we
With the
get
bucket,
the,
we're going,
wow.
ah. And the mesh on the front, which so many kids would just throw hot chips at your face. You'd be like, ah. So, yeah, I mean, I was doing it for charity, although we were making quite good money. I was a party host as well. So I was a party DJ before I even was a party DJ. I was doing kids' parties. That was kind of an extension of the acting. Yeah. So I had a few, like, little jobs and odds and ends, but it got to a point where I would be like, how the fuck did we have money back then? I don't know, because I was always at Dixon's Recycled Records buying CDs on the dole, doing these co-op theatre shows that you'd get paid when, like, people would just, if people came to the show, that's how you get paid pretty much, and you'd split it like 10 ways. So you had no money, but I always had music. I always had records. I always had CDs, and I was constantly going to the shop, and I was just like, I want a job here. And they were like, we are not giving this girl a job.
Is this the one on Brunswick Street?
This was the one in Chapel Street because I always lived south side.
Okay, so I'm trying to think where Dixon's was on Chapel.
It was opposite Coles.
Yeah.
There's a massage parlour there now.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
And there was a few. There was Mardi Music. There was a bunch of record stores around, wasn't there?
Unreal. Yeah, and then down the other end was Checkerboard Records. And so it was kind of my first real, I mean, I'd already stolen my parents' records collection because they were like into Commodore, Stevie Wonder, a lot of funk and soul.
And you're realising that this is where the samples are coming from.
Absolutely. Because I was already really still quite into hip-hop. I was really into hip-hop even when I was at drama school. I actually did my movement piece for drama in Spike Lee. We had to pick a genre of movie and music, so I chose Spike Lee movies, dislocated my knee, which has now, like, caused me so much drama throughout, like, my DJ career because I'm very active on stage. So it all started kind of there, and then I was like, got this job, finally got a job in the record store. I hounded him. And I was just like, I want a job. And that the kind of way I got it was a lot of the people, because you only get like the way they get their stock is through secondhand goods. So they were starting to get all these record collections with hip hop and rap, and they didn't know what to do with it.
Yep.
They had no idea what it was, how to grade it, how much it would cost. And they were like, hang on, there's that girl that always comes in looking for rap stuff. Maybe we should ask her. So I went and had an interview and was just like, mate, this is a match made in heaven. And so they brought me on. But it was a big decision for me because it was going to be 5 days a week. And, I have to give up acting. And it's all I knew what to do. So I was 27 at the time and I got this job and I took it. And that was the turning point.
Yeah.
Because I then was like every day with music. And not just hip hop, everything.
Yeah. And that's a cool place for someone who's digging or hanging out at the record shop anyway. You're there and people are bringing in whole collections.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Do you know how many records I got? 5-finger discount. No, shut up. No. I was grading. So I was grading all the records. Like, you clean them and then you grade them, see, how many marks are on them and scratches. And then we had books because we had no computer system back then. Yeah. So we had almanacs that we were going through to try and work out, okay, it's a German pressing. It was from this date, and this is how much it is mint. And then from there you'd work out the price. So it was this full, like, education in music.
Yeah.
And as I said, and then I was getting, like, I remember pulling out from someone's collection who they would have no idea it was their teenage son's collection or something, was a original 12-inch version of Eric B. and Rakim Paid in Full Cold Cart.
Wow.
Mint.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, that's $2, I reckon. Because no one in the record store would know.
But there's all these little clues you can get as well. Like you can look at the price tag from it's originally on
absolutely.
there. And look, is that in pound? If
Yep.
it's in pound, maybe it's from the UK. Well,
Yep.
it should be, all that sort of shit.
Absolutely. So it was a full thing. I was unreal. I love my time there. I went overseas in the meantime and came back. You know, I stopped working there and then came back because I loved it so much. And a lot of people that work there have been there for 30 years because there are still few stores going around.
I think there's one in Blackburn still.
Blackburn was the original. That's where I trained. And then Camberwell was where I did most of my job. And then we got moved to Fitzroy. And it was brilliant. I mean, and the reason I became a DJ was because Chris from Northside Records, who was a friend of one of the girls I went to drama school with, so I met him independently of records and hip-hop. I went over to his house and he just had buckets of records everywhere, and he was doing the niche scheme through Dole to try and like create this record store. So I was there at the inception and it worked. And then he was also running a night on Tuesdays at Lounge called, it's a soundtrack night, playing soundtracks. And that was when High Fidelity was massive. So he's like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to get record store owners to come in, on record store employees, to play their music. So he asked me, knowing full well that I love records and music, and he's like, do you want to come and play it this night? So I put my Jack Black hat on and became High Fidelity and went in there. And the first day I put that record on the turn, oh my God, the shakes. But it was like after a few records and kind of getting into it, I was like, hang on a minute. I'm on stage and I'm performing and playing music. This is my two worlds coming together. Like, it was such a natural progression for me that I was like, oh my God, this is what I want to do. Because I can bring the acting element and the performance, as everyone knows about me, into the records as well, into playing and DJing.
Yeah, it's the perfect hybrid of your two passions.
There you go. Yeah. Sorry, I keep talking. Do you want to ask a question?
That's fine. This is what it's all about. My job is to let the guest talk as much as they want and for me to say the least amount possible to make it interesting. That's how I think.
You ain't no Oprah then, because Oprah would just go over the top.
So that's awesome. And so then you're playing CDs and records?
I was purely vinyl to start with, purely. And then
what time are we talking here?
That was 98. No, the first gig with Chris was 2000 because I've got the flyer. Or maybe 2001 because I was in UK in 2000 and I was starting to collect a lot of vinyl overseas in UK because it's a vinyl buyer's market there. And going to a lot of the record stores and just amassing a collection there because I knew I wouldn't be able to get it back home. And prior to that, I was going to Planet of the Breaks and seeing Peril play every Thursday night, I believe, and just going, what is this record? What is this record? I was just so enamored and by him and by his selection. And I went up to him and I was like, hey, I want to become a DJ. Would you teach me? And he's like, eh. And that never happened. But I said, can I make you a mixtape and tell me how I'm going? Like, give me some feedback. And he's like, absolutely. So he was kind of the one that really got me thinking this could be a job. Like, I can actually do this. Or I can pretend to try and do it. So,
I can act like I'm a DJ.
Hello. So I was in UK and I remember collecting this vinyl and there was a CD, a turntable set up at Selfridges where I worked, which is a department store there. And I would just walk past it and just kind of look at it and be like, oh my God, I just want to. And they had a DJ there and I was always walking past it and they one day came over to me and said, look, do you want to bring your records in and play during the lunch breaks? And I was like, absolutely, yeah. So should I move that? That went up.
It doesn't matter.
Ooh. So I brought my records in and I was playing a lot of like, this was around the time of Murder Inc. So Ja Rule, 50 Cent, a lot of like R&B hip
I
hop.
had the clean edits for
Yeah, which I didn't know that. So because the guy that was playing all day was just playing house music. And so this was early 2000s. And so, yeah, I would bring that in with a bit of Michael Jackson, which like so many people loved because it was so different from the house that was playing all day. So I'd have this little 30-minute like gig and I remember they had the decks like on the floor and they eventually moved them up into a section where no one could come and talk to you, probably because of this. These guys all came around me and were standing there and watching me DJ and I was just like, oh, fuck. And they're like, mix it in, go on, mix it in. And I had no idea how to mix. I was just like, fade in, fade out. And I just remember fading in, fading out. And they're like, oh, you're shit, all together. And I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, you know what? No, that's never going to happen again. I'm going home and I'm going to practice. Yeah. So that's what I did. I just went home because there was no YouTube videos then. You just had to do it yourself.
For sure. I've still got a lot of records over there that have the BPM like
Oh,
labelled
the
on
table.
back.
Yeah, of course.
Because that's how we did it.
Absolutely. I mean, it was really hard for me to go from vinyl to Serato because I actually knew, because I have a photographic memory from the acting, I knew all
label.
the songs from the label.
Yeah.
Absolutely from the label or the cover. So it was really hard for me for that transition to go digital file.
For sure. Now you can see the cover art, but it's...
Yeah, well, now I know most of the time. I mean, this brain's is slow now, but now.
But yeah, the whole thing, and you had to learn how to count beats, you had to learn where the breakdowns were, and then you had to learn how to cue the songs up, and then not only get them playing at the same time, but make sure that one wasn't going to waver out of time. It's a whole thing. It's different, very different now.
Well, then when the CDJ came in and I had was it the 800? The 800 with the jog wheel that had the phalange and whatever it was. And I bought one of those because I got a bonus from Dixon's. We reached a target and got a bonus. I got a 1200 Technique 1 and then I got a CDJ. So that I could, because back then we were taking our gear to all the gigs. You know, there wasn't gear at these bars and stuff and clubs. So I was taking it and I was like, well, I'll halve the kind of all the CD singles and then a box of 12 inches as well, just for my back, So, and then so I learned how to do both.
Which is, and even CD players then, you could, it was still like they were emulating turntables.
Absolutely, exactly.
They weren't like their own thing.
But believe me, I was never a scratch DJ. I was not going to go down that route. I knew I was just going to be a party DJ. But what was really kind of smart about Past Mafia is that I never decided to just be a hip-hop DJ or a gay DJ or any of those things. I didn't want to box myself in. I was like, I'm just going to be... Because I worked in the record studio too, I knew a lot of different music. So I was like, I'm going to just play everything. And I was always kind of booked as the one hip-hop DJ on a rock gig or a indie gig.
Had that crossover.
So I had the crossover already, and I kind of knew that was going to probably befit me later on.
For sure.
Which it did.
Yeah, totally. And had you come up with the Mafia moniker by this stage?
Oh, that was a policeman at Dixon's. I've told this story 100 times, but yeah, I bought some stolen goods in good faith at Dixon's, which you do, and it was all analog in a book, and you would you'd have to write your name and your address and blah, blah, blah. So if by chance they were stolen and someone put in a report and they found them at our store, they could then go to the person that bought them and then
leaves a
paper trail. But
which would happen often, I'd imagine.
Absolutely often. And absolutely we were writing like we were doctors. It was so ineligible. You could not even read it. So the policeman misread my name and asked for Mafia. And I went, could you mean Maria? And he's like, oh, I thought your parents have a sense of humour to call you Mafia. And then I just went, hang on.
Yeah.
Because then he kept calling me it because he thought it was so hilarious. And I was mortified. But then I thought, hang on, I don't know if there's a DJ Mafia. Maybe that's a really good name for me.
It sounds like there's a whole crew.
Right.
The DJ Mafia is turning up.
Well, in my head, there's plenty. There's 1, 2, 5, at least. So I was like, hang on, that is brilliant because it's got the hip-hop connotation. Yeah. It's non-gender specific. I didn't want people looking at me like a female DJ. They wouldn't anyway because they don't know what I am. And I just wanted to go off of skill and party rocking. Yeah. So I just wanted to leave all that out of it. And then so I eventually started people calling me Mafia. And then people would just yell Yo Mafia down the street to me. And I was like, hang on, Yo Mafia. That's bigger on a flyer. Yeah. So that's quite dynamic in the font and the way it looks. So I became Yo Mafia.
Yeah, I remember seeing a Yo Mafia sticker in St Kilda. The first time I've sort of come across your name, and it was the Yo MTV Raps, and it was Yo Mafia sticker.
I don't know if we can talk about that. I'm in a legal battle with MTV.
Chickers? It was on the coffee machine at Los Chicas.
Yeah, because I went there every freaking day, and I still do. I love Los Chicas. Best breakfast.
Good breakfast.
But yeah, I eventually, so my mate James did all my branding for me because it was very big on branding. Yep. Always. I don't know how. I think just through MySpace and being able to, create and customize your own page and then having my own blog spot and all that stuff. So I was very into the way things looked and the aesthetics. And so we did this whole Yo MTV Raps ripoff. And then I was in Bali with no internet, but somehow managed to get an email from Viacom USA going, they somehow found me I'm this little chick in Adelaide, Melbourne. But I had gone to America like the year before and was giving out. So my business cards were Yo MTV rap cards. And so someone's seen it and then they were like, you need to take that down, all your branding off, blah, 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 legal fees.
The word yo,
Yeah, no, exactly. So I was allowed to keep that, but just not the branding. So
cool.
Whatever, guys. Who needs you?
So you've got your stage name now, and then you want to be jumping from genre to genre. You don't want to be pigeonholed, but you kind of got pigeonholed a little bit into the hip hop R&B.
R&B, definitely.
Definitely, yeah.
Well, that kind of came about because I was DJing for a very long time, just doing a myriad of gigs. I could not even count how many gigs. I was doing like 8 gigs a week. Yep. Like it was ridiculous, just everywhere. And then around 2007, I started getting booked at like Meredith and then Summer Days and all these festivals. And, hip hop was going off. Deb Prez was and Dizzy Rascal were like big names coming out. And I was eventually allowed to support them, which was awesome. Asked to. But I think, hey, what was the question?
You didn't want to be stereotyped as a hip hop R&B DJ. But
yes, this is what happened. Yes. So I started doing all these gigs, and then they kind of like tapered off, and I was just doing lots of bar gigs and I was working a lot. Mm-hmm. But this phone call came about through Mushroom Records asking if I would be keen to come on board as their R&B Fridays DJ, meaning not in the big shows, but like they have a club show too. So in a sense, you can listen to the radio show all day on Friday on Fox FM, and then you could go to one of the clubs that were all around Australia and watch one of the DJs DJ. Mm-hmm. So there was Horizon, who was the original DJ, and he was like smashing it. And he was a young kid, like 19, even earlier than that. I think he started like 15. And they kind of used him as the kind of DJ to really promote this thing. So he was on all the shows in between all the DJs. But the brand got so big that they needed 2 and they wanted a female. So they did book a female DJ, but unfortunately it just didn't work out. Yep. For whatever reason, didn't really know how to hold that big of a brand, going to clubs and being a headliner. And so I think they had like a meeting in the boardroom. Look, I've worked for Matt Gadinsky before and Joe Nima. Lil Joe. I've done so many gigs for all of those. So they know who I was. Yep. And I think they were just like, we need someone that we know is going to be able to deliver, pretty much. And also I had a lot of like contacts. Like I was getting sponsorships from Nike, Adidas, Reebok because of my sneaker freaker connection.
That's where I wanted to go eventually as well.
Okay, so we'll come back to that. So yeah, I was having, and then G-Shock, like I was having a lot of brand collaborations as well. So it kind of befit them.
You were marketable.
I was very marketable. So, and happy to sell a product and buy them too. So so they brought me on board. They were like, do you want to just come? And I was like, why the fuck? What else am I doing on a Friday night? Mm-hmm. So I was doing a couple of the club shows. Then I didn't hear anything for a few months. And then I got a phone call from the guy that would eventually become my manager, Paul Barbaro, and he was just like, well, we're getting all these inquiries about you and I think people think we're managing you, so maybe we need to have a conversation. Yep. And I'd had a lot of people that wanted to try and manage me, but I was pretty unmanageable because I was getting all the gigs myself. People were just coming to me.
All they're going to do is take a cut,
Yeah, absolutely. And I was pretty personable to the fact that I knew how to network from from acting. So I was pretty had that on lock. So I didn't really need that. I didn't think so. And he said, come in for a conversation. And we had a few conversations and I didn't know whether I wanted to do this because I'd been DJing for 18 years now. Why all of a sudden am I going to sign myself over to somebody and a booking agent and now become a commodity pretty much? So I was like, fuck, what do I do? And I thought about it and I was like, man, I'm reaching like my later years in my DJ career. Like, why the fuck not? Let's just see what happens. And it was kind of a handshake deal. Like, it's like, let's see what happens. If you don't like it, you walk away. If we don't, we'll walk away. Great. So there was no stakes in it other than let's see what happens. And it just was like a marriage made in heaven. Mm-hmm. Like I was just like bought into this mammoth of a company that I have been inspired by all my life, and they have so many subsidiaries within Mushroom, like, events, commercials, comedy, all this stuff. And my agent, my manager, Paul, was a gun. Like he was just pushing for gigs and putting me out there and
Takes you to the next level.
It
that
took
you
me to a
probably
level I
couldn't have-
never would have been able to do myself.
Solo,
ever.
it is hard to go to that next, when you talk about Gadinsky's pool and yeah.
Absolutely. And Paul worked very closely with not only Michael, the original boss, and now Matt. They've worked so closely together all their, since they were like 19. So they've got a very inbuilt relationship there. And a lot of people that do work at Mushroom have been there a long time because it's a
been there,
family.
20 years.
Oh, forever.
Yeah.
Like Joe was coming into HMV when I worked at HMV, like putting all the CDs at the front and all the touring, the Roots. I remember so badly the Roots all the time were here. And, so I had these existing relationships with them, which made it easier too. And I am so forever grateful to them because they have... yes, I've become the R&B Fridays DJ, but it's not a bad thing.
No, for sure.
And, in saying that, they've also been able to book me for Beyond the Valley and, like, all these incredible festivals where I'm playing not hip-hop, dance and techno because I can play it.
Yeah.
I can cross over.
For sure. Because
So,
before that sort of deal there, you were doing a lot of big gigs, but you were doing a lot of corporate-ish sort of things as well.
very corporate.
Like... I'm pretty sure you would have played every single Logie's after party at some stage.
Yes, I did the Logies for 10 years for Channel 10, so I was doing a lot of that stuff. And that came about through not a bar mitzvah, a wedding. So I started doing a lot of weddings, a lot of Jewish weddings, a lot of bar mitzvahs, and, very important people in these rooms that I was so unaware of, but I'm doing my thing, and they're just like, who the fuck is this? And then you get booked for the next one and you got to be better than that one, that last show we did. Oh, yeah, let's go. So I managed to make a lot of connections to that. And that was when I had my own agency, which was Yo Mafia Entertainment, which I had to break away from the Yo Mafia club stuff because I was like, and I think I did that pretty early on where a lot of other DJs were like, you're selling out. And I went, no, I'm being smart.
Yeah.
Because I want to buy a house. I want to secure this. This is my job. This is it for me. I have no other qualifications but acting. And so it's not selling myself out, it's broadening and I've constantly done that.
Yeah.
Let's broaden the horizon of how many people we can touch doing this.
And that's the thing with like the commercial DJ side of it. You've got to be willing to play whatever until you get to that point that you can pick and choose. And that's the hard thing for a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I understand that too. And I got so much flack for it. But I've got tough skin and I'm cool.
You put the years of work in prior to
Well,
get
I
to that
know
point.
what I've got behind me.
Exactly.
I know that I can, yes, I have to play Justin Bieber and I have to play all these songs, but hey, I'm an actor and I can make it look like I'm having the best time.
That's it. But that's the thing with a lot of the younger DJs that I would see when I was still doing it myself is like they would be like, I only play this kind of music. And that's great if you are 35 years old and you're established. But if you're 22 and you've got your first gig and you're only going to play a certain genre and you're only going to turn up with 30 songs, you're not going to last.
Yeah,
That's the reality of it.
unfortunately, yeah, because it is part of like we are working for the people, not working for us. Yeah. We're working to make a dance floor work and we're working for a crowd. And, if you get to a point where you can actually start, as you said, play your own stuff as well and move that in as well. I have no qualms playing what the people want because I'm a people pleaser and I've been since I was born, and it's part of the acting gig as well is you have to really, you're performing. It's a performance. That's why I call myself an entertainer now, not just a DJ because I'm performing. And yeah, people will be like, "You're fucking cheesy," and I'm like, "Yeah, I am. I don't care. I want uncool to be cool. You know what I mean? I don't give a fuck. Yeah, I'm too old to give a shit.
No,
and
but you also haven't changed who you are. The whole process. That's the thing that the difference is. If you change to be someone else for money, then maybe you are selling out. But if you are just who you are and shoehorn that into being popular,
I'm very lucky on that sense. But I think I've never been able to be anything else. I've always been authentic. It's been a problem in my life to be too honest about shit and to be, but I'm also very aware of playing a game. Very aware of that too. Because that's the business side of it, which a lot of DJs do not understand.
Or don't do well.
And I have an incredible business ethic on this profession because it is a profession to me. It's a career. It's not just fun and games. And, you make it look like that because, you have to have a good time and I'm having a great time always. Mm-hmm. But on the other side of it, like, you should see me like every Monday, like reconciling all my invoice thing. I'm making sure that's all done. So it's all in line so I know what's coming in and going out because, I've only got to rely on myself. when this is done, what do I do?
Yeah.
You know?
There's no severance package for party DJs.
Absolutely not. Just some shit knees and a fuck neck.
And a lot of records.
Yeah, and a lot of records, yeah.
So, talking about collecting, let's go on to the sneaker. Because I do remember you were I'm saying were, but I'm sure you still are. You were a huge sneakerhead. And this is before it was cool.
Again, yeah. I mean, look, it all stemmed from my brothers, and when I said back, what was that, 4 hours ago we started talking about, wanting to just wear sneakers and jeans. And, I remember moving to Melbourne and seeing this shop, and it had it was like there's like a key place where you get keys cut, and then at the front window there was all these different styles of New Balance, and New Balance was massive in the late 90s, early 2000s. And I was just like, what the? And bought every pair. And then I couldn't buy any Adidas or Nike because they weren't coming in my size. It was really hard to get.
You got a little foot.
Little foot. Well, I got a 7 men's, so it's not too little, but it's on the cusp of 7 youth to 8 men's. So it's that one in the middle.
Which can be good because sometimes you get the kid sizes, which might be $50 cheaper.
I can't actually because I've got a wide foot.
Oh, damn it.
She got wide foot. So I've got a wide foot, unfortunately. Which I've done before. I've tried to do the cheap and then go, these are really tight. But, I was massive into sneakers. It was because also, yes, from my brothers, and then my best friend growing up, Davey, when I moved to Melbourne, was massive into that. Was massive into sneakers and massive into music. And I was like, I'm going to buy more sneakers and I'm going to be a better DJ than him. Like this competitive thing.
And that's good though. That's how Michael Jordan had 2 older brothers, and that forced him to be, to be competitive.
Absolutely.
So you need someone.
Yeah, you do. You do. And you're not going to get sugar coated. There's not a lot of female energy in that, like in the compassion, should I say? That's fine. I'm cool with that. But yeah, so I was really. I remember watching breakdance or breaking and seeing, was it Boogaloo Shrimp with the broom on the wire, which you can see the wire. But I was looking at his sneakers and what are those? And I remember finding him at the markets in Adelaide, random place to find him in a sports store. And I was like, Dad, please. And he's like, I can't, your mum will kill me. I was like, I won't tell her. Too boyish. And so he bought them for me and I wore them to bed and I hid them. I had to wear them to bed. Everyone wore their shit to bed that you loved. My brother used to sleep with his cricket bats,
Sleep with their skateboards. Yeah.
It's so funny. I wonder if kids still do that.
Yeah, I guess so.
So that was the start of it.
And that opened up the whole sneaker collecting.
Oh, it was out of control. I had to collect everything. It was, sneakers, it was records, was erasers, remember rubbers and stuff like that. But yeah, the sneakers got out of hand and I was buying a lot. And then the sneaker job came about at Sneaker Freaker magazine because I actually got asked from another guy who was in sneakers to come and work as his office manager, which meant just basically clean his office because he was into trading cards and stuff like that too. And it was a schmozzle. It was so badly organised. And I walked in and went, oh, no. And I called Woody at Sneaker Freaker to kind of gauge what he thought about this guy. And I was like, hey, he's asked me to come work for him. What do you reckon? And he's like, well, you're looking for a job. I'll give you a job. And I went, what? He's like, yeah, I need someone. I went, well, I can only work 3 days a week because I'm DJing. He goes, that's fine. If you can get a week's worth of stuff done in a week, in 3 days. And I was like, could I? And so then I came on board. We had a conversation. I wouldn't call it an interview. And basically I was then kind of tasked with I was a senior online content producer before we even knew what content was in 2007.
Yeah.
And, he's like, Photoshop these thumbnails, do that. And I'm like, what do I do with my thumb? What? I had no idea. Yeah. And I had to just learn. Like I had to figure it out. And he's one of those bosses. It was like, make it happen. And you're like, how? Yeah. So I got a journalism degree. I worked there for 5 years and learned how to write, produce, do all this stuff.
Amazing.
And that's where a lot of the branding comes from too, that I was also able to carry over to DJing.
For sure.
So
it kind of like was an internship into marketing and branding that you could use then to your own stuff.
And we're working with the big brands like Nike and Adidas
You're
and
getting
Reebok.
shoes, I'm guessing.
I'm getting a lot of complimentary shoes. My Mafia at sneakerfreaker.com email was gold because I was also the content producer, so everyone wanted their stuff on the website. And I was the one that was writing all the reviews. I got a lot of flack for that Yo Mafia dude and his rap talk. And I'm like, she's a girl. And you're, what? Yo. Dope. I mean, how many ways could you describe a sneaker? And then me and the other guy that worked there, because there's only two of us working there with Woody, we would try and come up with the most ridiculous names for sneakers, that were coming out, because we were getting a lot of stuff like 9 months before it was released, and we come up with these ridiculous names and see if they catch on. And a lot of them did, which was great. So
sure.
We named a lot of the packs and a lot of the, new silhouettes that were coming out, which was awesome.
Sick. And was it that, because I remember that book or that magazine was like A5. It was a different
Boogazine. So that's what he calls it, a boogazine.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a book magazine.
Yeah. And that
Perfect for the toilet.
I loved that time in press media, because there still was print media. Do you know what I mean?
That's right.
Monster Children and
Yes.
Sneaker Freaker and
Yeah.
Acclaim and all these
Yeah, it was
publications
brilliant.
that we don't really have anymore.
We were so lucky to grow up during that time. I just remember writing for a magazine called Lucky, which was my first real kind of dive into writing, because I wanted somebody to, I think it was a review on a sneaker or a fashion brand or something. And I wrote this review and they sent me stuff, and I was like, the first time I ever got stuff sent in the mail, I was like, oh my God. And that never went away from me. Like, I was always so excited to receive stuff from people, just to write about it. And like, I was always so, gracious for it all, and grateful. Like, mate, I got a lot of free stuff.
For sure. I can imagine.
Yeah.
And
I'm pretty sure you came and bought some stuff from me. Not that it was free, but like, I remember having like an interaction with you outside of my house in St Kilda.
Yeah, no, I bought a leather DJ bag.
Oh, you bought
But my dog ate it.
oh my God, the
Toomey
Toomey.
one, yeah.
Oh my God.
It smelled nice. It was just like a nice leather bag.
beautiful.
My dog ate it. I had to throw it out when I last moved house.
Yeah, I'm like so sad I sold that. I know, that's okay. It's fine. It's in a better place, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I remember I first bought it and I took it to the club and my friend spilled a vodka cranberry on it and I was like, ah! And she was just like, calm down. I'm like, what? You don't understand how expensive this fucking bag was.
I know. Yeah, I feel horrible about that.
No, don't worry. It's all good. I got a new Toomey now, so it's fine.
But so because you were in the sneaker game so early, I'm sure you're probably sitting on some grails there that people...
Oh, yeah. And you know what? It's really bad because I moved from Windsor to the Ninch and I decided that I wasn't going to have them all on display because I did have them on display for years. And so I popped them in tubs and they're just sitting in the garage in tubs. And it's funny because my stepson now like has his mates over and they're like, oh, you got the original Yeezys and stuff. I was like, oh, yeah, I pull them out. And they're like gardening shoes that I've worn in the garden because like, I mean, they were gifted to me, original Nike Yeezy, because we had the party for them. And like, but, that kind of stuff, it's just, I feel bad about it because it's just in the tubs, but I just don't wear that stuff anymore. Like I got to a point where I needed to be comfortable on stage and wear comfortable shoes. And a lot of it just wasn't comfortable for me.
The irony is they're sneakers, they're supposed to be comfortable.
Right. But they're for running or they're for like, lifestyle. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I know. And I wear Air Force Ones, which are the most uncomfortable shoe ever.
They are, yeah.
Yeah. But now I'm getting back into Jordan 3s and like, I love my 4s, but I feel like they're just coming back too much, They're losing
3s, I think, are the best.
3s are awesome. It took me a while to go to a 3. I was always a 4 girl. Loved a 4. I think it's like anything. When they're mass produced and they come out and everyone's wearing them, I'm like,
I love, and it's probably unpopular opinion, I love the 5 mids, like with the underneath the ankle.
Right, yeah, nice. I need an ankle wrap, I've realised, because I have the rubber ankles. Hey! Especially when I'm bouncing on stage and I've got a really bad knee that dislocates from the Spike Lee movement piece at VCA, but it's all good.
So aside from the sneakers, you were collecting just cool pop culture stuff.
Always. Love stuff. Love technological stuff. Love anything to do with like samplers, synths, gear. I love gear. I'm a gear junkie. I collect a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I just love spending money.
But the thing is,
I'm a girl after all.
I think the funny thing is, like, if you pick the right stuff, it will hold its value.
Yeah.
And
Look,
a lot of it doesn't.
I'm pretty smart about what I buy. I know that I'll be able to on-sell it at a pretty good price point if I have to. And also, I really like quality stuff, so I know it's going to last.
Yeah.
You know, and then what happens is I buy something and then I go, yeah, but I want that too. But how do I make that work with that? And then it's, oh my God, and then it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
I'm down a rabbit hole of gear that I can't get out of. So
But it's fun.
it's
Buttons
so
are
fun.
cool.
Buttons are fun. And my ADHD, is that what that is? Like that you need stuff to play with all the time? And because with DJing, I found like, yes, I've got to a point now where I know the sets and I know how to blend and mix.
Got to stay busy.
I got to stay busy. And that's why I started doing the VDJ stuff with the videos, because it was another element to really kind of, you know, lose my shit to. That, oh, fuck, is that going to fuck up too? But I do like to be busy on stage, and I do like to, but I also really have to connect with the audience as well.
For sure. The VDJ thing's a funny one. Like when I first started DJing in the early 2000s, the Pioneer came out with a VDJ player, which never kind of took off.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like a 1000, but it had a little screen on it as well.
Wow,
And
that's
they
awesome.
Never took off. Anyway, but so when you started doing that, like how were you mixing that? Is that through Serato?
Yeah, so through Serato Video.
Yeah.
So I'm really lucky to have some really good connects with Serato and their artist liaison, Sean out there, who always, you know, hooks me up with all the stuff and the licenses and stuff like that. And, you know, I was asked, this is an R&B Fridays thing where I was asked to do R&B Vine Days, which was their version of like a day on the green with R&B. And it was my first real big kind of, you know, tour. And it was, who was on the first one? It was Blackstreet, Nelly, Ashanti, I don't know, I can't remember. There was so many. I've been with so many of these artists now, which has been insane. But my manager, Paul, was like, yeah, we want you to do a VDJ set. And I went, what was that? And he goes, with video. And I said, I don't know how to do that. And he goes, you'll figure it out. And I was like, it's always that. Mafia will figure it out. Fuck me. How am I going to figure this? And my partner of 8 years had just broken up with me. So I was going through hardcore grief, moved house, didn't know where I was. And it was the best thing for me. I just was focused on this. I'm going to do this. And I busted it out. I figured it out. I just basically, found all these videos, corresponded them with the video, with the audio, and then played it like a DJ set. And it worked, and it had pop culture references in it as well.
So you can hit them like with a sampler. You can go, bang, I'm going to have Bugs Bunny or some shit.
Yeah. But a lot of it was also inbuilt because I wanted to make sure, because I was already nervous enough doing something that I'd never done before, that I created, or I hired a visual editor to visually make them look amazing.
Yep.
And with like cartoony stuff over the top. And then I would find YouTube videos or whatever and then like just add them in, Final Cut Pro it, put it all together. So it was kind of pre-made, but it was all mixed, but played live, absolutely. And now I've got to a point where I'm sampling stuff and on the fly, figuring it out, you know, because you want to keep challenging yourself.
Serato is pretty good at like coming up with new products, like stems I haven't dived into, but that's so pretty amazing. Like
so good. It's brilliant. And now that I don't know if they've done this feature yet. I haven't asked, but if they could do a stems that would take out elements of a video as well, out of visual, which would look great. Like if you hit a stem and it was going to then, you know, invert the image or add an effect over it. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm pretty sure you could do it if you MIDI map and stuff like that as well. So
yeah, you probably could do it yourself, but you want to just click the button so it's done.
Everyone wants to click a button. Sync button.
So how did you go with the transition from playing records, playing CDs into the Serato thing? Because I'm pretty sure you've always been Serato. You didn't really go down the like USB route at all.
Still haven't.
Yeah.
I refuse to. I can't. I don't, unless, you know, the Serato fucks up, which it has on occasion, and then you have to have the backup. I always have a backup, and I know how to mix on them because I have CDJs at home for that reason, to know how to do it if I'm stuck. But no, I always wanted that feel of, also I want to be able to just use that 20,000 tunes I have and know where everything is. It's just it's a habit thing of, you know, and I tried to do it, but I found I was quite bored. Wasn't a lot to do. Like I'm just pressing play and then mixing it and sampling. No sample. I couldn't sample. Although they've got the Remix 1000 now where you can do all that. They've come back into play. Everyone started using those, which is great. I mean, if I could use that. But no, I really enjoy the complexities of Serato and the S11 and, having so many options on the go.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to buy a new mixer, man. Now that I've got my studio space set up here.
What have you got?
That is a SRT 900.
Oh, yeah.
But
That's a dinosaur. No, I'm joking. No, I always see them when they're on my rider and I go, what? No, that's not my rider.
No, you need the S11.
No, I actually have the Nexus for club standard. Like I'll always play on a Nexus and I bring, as you were saying before, the reloop MIDI pad.
Yeah.
Because I've always had that. I think it's more because I like shiny lights. Pretty things to look at.
Yeah, you can change the colours and you know what's where. And
As for my samples, I've got my loops on there, my samples, slicer, roll, all those things that I would have on an S11, which I know most clubs are not going to have an S11 or an S9.
No. But if you're doing those big events, though, you can have a
Yeah, they can bring them in.
Yeah.
But it's a lot easier for them. And a lot of the time, let's be real, promoters aren't reading the rider.
No.
Just figure it out. And there's been times where, and I do have it on my performance agreement now, which is if the rider is not adhered to, I can't play. Yeah. Because I just can't. Because now Serato's made the box obsolete. So if there's not a 900 Nexus mixer, I can't play.
Yeah. Yeah, the boxes are just a thing of the past, aren't they?
Yeah.
It was kind of like an interesting time when they came out, but a sort of a shit time. You had to pull the mixer out and get your
God.
RCA cables, and then I pulled the wrong one.
Oh my God. I mean, I still have that anxiety coming from like a USB DJ before me, and I'm like, which one do I take out? And they're both like, I don't know. Which one have I played on? I'm like, ah. So I'll just start on internal.
But Pioneer have done an amazing job of just locking down the club standard.
Mate.
Like I know Denon. Every now and then you see someone like with like a Denon product or whatever, and you're like, man, you're not going to be able to sell that in the end. It sounds bad, but it's true.
It's true. Pioneer all the way. And, I've had a really great relationship with all the reps at Pioneer, which has been really fortunate. And I've been able to try out equipment before it's, actually released. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, the Cross 12 is insane. The new turntable.
Expensive, though.
Expensive. This is the problem with Pioneer, and I think they know they've got a chokehold on us with that price point. And, things are, I mean, luckily for the end of year financial sales, I just picked up a Rev 5. Excuse me. Oh, classy lady. Don't keep that in. Do you edit these?
Not really, unless I have to.
Shit. Oh, well, she's a classy lady. So, I managed to pick up some stuff at the end of year financial sale. But, they're also notorious for not really giving any discounts and stuff like that.
When you can get a 15% off, you take it. So.
Well, I'm, again, at Store DJ, I pay so much from them, so they always end up giving me a cheeky little 10%, which is so nice, not expected at all. I think it's more because, I'm just buying so much stuff.
Yeah, they can look your name up and they can see how much shit you bought, and that's,
Yeah. And sometimes they'll recognise me or, which is really, it's nice to be recognised. It's very nice to be, and to get some props from people that have had a great time. I mean, the best story, though, I will tell you, is unbelievable. This guy, I was DJing at the lounge, and I hadn't DJed at lounge for years. And this kid came up to me, and he's like, I'm here for you. I'm here because of you. And I was like, oh, thank you. That's so sweet. And he goes, no, I'm literally here because of you. And I went, what? And he goes, my parents had sex in the toilets here 18 years ago, and now I'm here. And I went, oh, my God, I've been DJing too long. This is so long.
So you were playing at lounge back, wow.
Let's talk about full circle.
Yeah, that is.
So they were having sex in the toilets. I think they've cottoned on and gone, that's when we conceived that child. Or they're lying, and it was a great story, but I'll take it. And now the child is 18 years old coming to the club.
Yeah.
Mind you, this was years ago. That's how long I've been DJing now. So
yeah, he might be a parent now.
Possibly. That's a head fuck.
You mentioned before that you like all the gear and all that sort of stuff, and I know that you're starting to do some original kind of production stuff now. So has that been fun adventure?
It's been awesome. I mean, look, better late than never. I mean, I've always been very adamant that I'll stay in my lane and just, you've
made edits and stuff.
I'm a party DJ. No, never before. No, but I think I have. I just haven't released them because I have a lot of stuff. I think I have. I know I have, but I have a lot of stuff in my Serato that and I edit on the fly all the time. I'm making blends all the time on the fly. I had no idea how to use a computer, like a door to do all that. And then Serato Studio came out, and it's like the Fisher Price of like Ableton. It's so easy to use, so easy. But then I was like, I actually do want to maybe get into this. And I had a really quiet period after summer, and I was like, I'm actually going to go do this course at School of Synthesis. And went and did the Ableton course with this guy called Tristan, who was incredible, and learnt so much. And I was like, oh, okay, I actually think I know how to do this. And so then that took me down a rabbit hole of buying gear, more gear. And now it's just literally every day in the studio, just fucking around, playing stuff. I've realised that mashups for me are getting more traction than original stuff.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because it's what I'm known for. Yeah. And, and that's exactly why I started playing that kind of stuff. I saw Soul Wax come out all those years ago, and I remember playing at Lounge going, no one's DJ, no one's dancing to this Mos Def track or this, Talib Kweli thing that I love. And then I'd like throw in a bit of Snoop Dogg with like AC/DC over the top, and they're like, gagging for it. I was like, and it wasn't until I started working at HMV that I realised commercial music has its purpose.
Yeah.
Because you're getting such a wider audience, obviously. How can I do that at these clubs where people are coming to just, every other DJ is going to play a really underground hip-hop set? How do I set myself apart?
For sure. And I think the job of a DJ, when you're doing commercial gigs like that, is to keep the dance floor moving and then slowly educate them a tiny bit.
Just a little bit.
A little bit.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. I mean, you cannot do that these days, though.
You can't?
That's over. Really? Absolutely over.
It's just that.
Well, no, in the commercial scene, commercial scene. But again, I think I'm also talking from a very privileged standpoint where I'm on a stage that is far away from the audience. Like they can't actually come in and come up anymore. Not like Laundry where it was just like everyone's in your face. So maybe a little bit different. But I have noticed, they just want the bangers, and they don't care if they've heard them 4 times that night. No one cares anymore. It's just weird, but that's how it is.
It's like I feel now, and this is maybe just a grumpy old guy in me, but the songs now that are popular, they just don't have the longevity. There's very few right now. Like, and this is one thing I definitely don't miss about DJing is when you're doing the commercial gigs, you'll get whatever songs are popular at that period of time.
Yep.
And now there might be 1 or 2 that would make it in your regular selection for the future, but pretty much all of them are turfed and you'll never play again.
But I'm really fortunate in that I'm known as a throwback DJ no matter what.
Yeah.
So with the R&B Fridays, all of that stuff that I do and those clubs, I'm known to play that stuff, so I can play it. So I'm playing pretty much the exact same set I was playing at Favela in 2007. It's the same thing.
Same thing.
Because it all came around again.
But you're keeping it current as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of current stuff and there's a lot of, and as I said, the edits and the mashup, that's where that comes from. Because a lot of these kids are now loving like 2000s indie stuff.
Yep.
And stuff that kind of, not like indie pop stuff. And then I'm just, putting a hip hop beat under it or a dance beat. I mean, dance is so huge at the moment. Mm-hmm. Hip hop's kind of getting lost in the tether. Just a little bit in that sense of for the clubs that I'm playing at, especially.
But we've both been around for long enough to know that everything, whether it's fashion, whether it's music, goes in cycles. And you got to think back to about 20 years ago now, that indie dance commercial indie stuff was huge. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Right. So Block Party, the Strokes, all that stuff, which was Rapture, crossing over rock and dance.
That's right. Well, I feel like electro is probably the next thing to come back because it hasn't had a resurgence yet, and and then it'll come back around to hip hop and it'll come back around to R&B. But the thing is that and I'm lucky enough to have come around all those circles, and also been able to play all that other stuff that was current.
Yeah,
because I know how to. It's not that hard.
No. Yeah, I've said to people, I'm old enough to have seen mullets become cool 3 times.
That's so true. I played a gig on the weekend and I played pretty much all techno. And that's so unusual for me, but it was just like, this is what the party needed. It was what it was. It was a very dark kind of gay party. It was full on. Yeah. And it was just like, that was the kind of music. And you're not going to be playing Missy Elliott or, some Beyonce there. I mean, you could play Beyonce for sure. It's gay boys. Let's be real. But like, you have to really attune to the audience and know. And that's where I'm really lucky is that I'm able to do that. And when I played Beyond the Valley last year, I was at the Dr. Dan stage and I played the Dance Dome the year before, which is very unusual because they know most people know me as a hip hop R&B. I'm versatile, but a lot of people going, "What are you going to play?" I was like, "Well, dance," but like, what kind of dance? I was like, festival dance music. You know, I know how to look for music. It's not that hard. I know music. And so that was great. And I think, you know, from that they had me back and I played dance stage. But unfortunately on our stage, they announced Dom Dollar playing at the Dance Dome as a secret act. And so everyone just kind of ripped over there. This is like about 2 sets before I was meant to come on. And slowly but surely in the set before me, people started coming across. And then by the time I was on, because I was playing festival bangers, but I was also playing throwbacks, but in a way that had like the dance beat underneath, they were gagging for it. And then it was like this huge stage of like, you know, people everywhere. And it was like, it was really quite, what's the word? Encouraging for me, I guess, because it's like, first of all, I'm about to turn 50. I'm playing at this young person's festival, a very cool festival that the coolest DJ at the moment in their eyes is playing on another stage, and they're over at my stage going off going, mate, we just want to hear fucking throwbacks. This is sick. And I was like, what's a throwback? What? This is just my music. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's my music. But to them, it's a throwback, and I get it. They're 18. And this was bought, oh, fuck, I've really aged myself.
So when you're doing your own production stuff, are you motivated to make it sound like throwback music, or are you making like modern day kind of stuff?
Oh, it's a mix, definitely a mix. And I think that's where it's a little messy right now because I'm trying to find my sound because I'm like, which era am I kind of like honouring here? Yep. So I've made a house track, a disco house track that I find is very me, but I'm not a house DJ, but I love the elements of it. There's like vocoder in there, there's like slap and bass, there's like, you know, fat 808s and stuff like that. But so I've made that kind of a track. That's an original track I've made. But these are things I'm too scared to put out right now. These are just for me because I'm playing around.
But we can talk about it.
We can talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, definitely.
You definitely know the right people that when you do come onto something that you have the avenues to put it out there.
Oh, true. Absolutely. I'm very lucky in that way. But it's still daunting as fuck.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to, I mean, I've been judged all my life, so it's just another thing to be judged on. And, you know, the social media outlets today are not friendly. A lot of them.
No, I know, but look, you're always going to upset someone.
Oh, I don't give a shit. Yeah. Like, it's me still. I've got the thickest skin. But at the same time, it's it's like I decided like maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I'm not sure how long I've got left in this DJ game. Maybe I'll start a new career. Maybe I'll look into like being a photographer. So I started doing photography and I started taking photos and stuff. But it's like, yeah, that's cool, but I don't want to be the DJ turned. Okay. Yeah, you know what I mean? Photographer. Because I do use a lot of photographers when I'm on stage and videographers, and I want to honour them and be, that's your thing. I don't want to take it away. Although I'm not mad when people want to become DJs. I mean, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, for sure.
It's a great career. Yeah.
So... But there's no there's no, you know, fine line. There's no infinite. Can't even say it. There's no ending to a career. You can DJ for as long as you want.
Oh no, and I'm the proof of that. And Carl Cox is the proof of that. You know, but I don't see myself ever stopping. Yeah. But I do have a lot of people going, what are you going to do next? The only thing that would stop me is my body, because my body, both through time and jumping up and down so much and
travel.
And travel was very tiring. Like I had a really hard time last year. I was, you know, and now we're dealing with COVID as well and all those elements. And being in a airport is not a fun experience anymore. Yeah. It was always so glamorous, and now it's just, oh my god, it's hectic, and it's a lot of people's anxiety you're taking on as well. Yeah. But yeah, traveling and all that, yeah, it does become very tiring. But I have a really great support system at home, and like this is part of the reason why I'm here down at the Ninch.
Down the Ninch, yes.
Because it's just like you don't have to see anyone, you don't have to talk to anyone, and there's a lot of young older people here, and old people come to die here.
And there's a lot of cooler older people coming down here now, like us.
It's great.
But that's what people don't really understand. I'm like, when you lived, like I lived around the corner from you in the city, basically on Chapel Street or St Kilda for so long. Getting out of there, it's like you feel like you can breathe, and I didn't realize how. Like I just thought it was so normal, but it was like now I got out of there, I'm like, I feel.
That's exactly the moment I left that house in Windsor. I remember being in the car and just going, oh my god, Oh my! I exhaled. I'm waiting to exhale. I'm Whitney Houston.
I sleep better.
I
everything's
sleep better.
Yeah.
I'm like, I mean, look, I've taken on a different lifestyle because I have 2 kids that I live with, two teenagers who are awesome, like the most incredible dudes, and like, you know, great for, because I'm a young person at heart too, and they keep me relevant in that way. Like, it's like, what's cool now? Can you tell me what's cool?
Yeah.
And they're fucking awesome.
Totally new family dynamic for you.
Well, I've never had kids, you know. I never had kids. My partner's got 2 kids, and that was part of the deal. You're moving in with kids.
Yeah.
And, you know, this is like living in a share house in a way, but not.
Yeah.
But kind of, but not, because, you know, you've got a 20-year-old turning 21 that, you know, I'm like, I'm not going to bother you. Like, you do your own thing, because I don't want to be in your space all the time. It's very important for me that they have their own space, and they do, because it's such a, you know, great thing about being down here. You got a big house, you know, have a tiny little 1-bedroom flat. Yeah. And it's been a whole new experience for me, but it's made me realize how much I've wanted a family and a family support system that, you know, I never had before when I was traveling and doing all these massive gigs. Sometimes I was coming home to myself just like, it's hard because you're coming off of like mad stuff, and then you're like, come home and you're like, no one's here. Yeah. This is weird. And then COVID, and I lived by myself during COVID, so that was.
But you were pretty good at the live streams and that sort of thing and staying busy.
Well, I made myself have 2 gigs a week. Like, I was like, all right, you're going to search for music for half the week. You're going to create this studio set up, so you've got a production studio in your house, which took me 6 months. So it was such a great experience. And then having these online parties, and everyone's getting lit as fuck, and including me, except I was finishing going, hello? There's nowhere to party with. That 5K thing, they really killed me. But it was so fun. It was unreal. And I've learnt now that I can live stream. I can do my own production. And not a lot of DJs or on my booking agency were doing that. So I got a lot of gigs over COVID doing stuff for brands and stuff like that, because I had the green screen. Could put whatever I wanted in the background. I did a lot of stuff like Office Works and Athlete's Foot and all these random gigs. And because I could do all these like really crazy elements that was just an extension of what I've already been doing.
For sure. And the family thing, like you said, you love it, and you realise that that was something you always wanted, even though you didn't know you did. Yeah. And then you get to, you said you came out late. Yeah. But this family you've been able to introduce to your other family, and it's a whole different experience.
Oh, it's so different. Like, it's the first time I've actually introduced my parents to a partner. And then I bought Sophia, my 15-year-old. She came with us, and, you know, my parents were fantastic. And my brother, we stayed with my brother. He's got a massive house in Adelaide, and we were there while Fringe was on. So I made a connection through that you might see me at Fringe next year. We never know. So there's some big stuff coming up. Like, there's a big stuff in the works through just traveling and making connections again. But, yeah, no, it's been awesome. And it's been unreal for them to see me perform as well, you know, and see them just go. Because, like, how cool of them just to take on board this chick. Their mum's, like, gay now and living with her partner, and they're like, yep, whatever.
Yeah.
What?
But it's 2024, though.
I know, but I'm old school, right? So I'm like, hang on, this is weird, isn't it? Like, but they're like, no, this is fine.
Yeah. And it's awesome that that's where we're at now.
So good. It's so good. And I promised the 20-year-old that I would teach him to DJ since I moved in, and I haven't done that yet. Because it's one of those things where I don't want to DJ when I'm at home. No, I can't be bothered.
No. Yeah.
And I think that I don't have that instinct to teach because I just know how to do.
Yeah. Well, I think that whole...
But it might change.
That definitely comes from being a busy working DJ. You don't want to DJ at home.
That's correct.
Because you're doing it all the time anyway. It's the people that only do 1 gig a week that want to play at home.
Yes. You know? Yeah, and I'm not practicing my scratching, and I'm not scratching. Look, I'm not going to pretend that I can do all that. Like, I'm not that technically skilled. I can blend really well. I can put 2 tracks together. I can entertain, but I know what I am. And, you know, I mean, there's the basics, and I can teach him that. But it's just a kind of thing of also, getting your head into that, going, I need to explain how I do this. How do I know? I'm just doing it.
It's just second nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It's a bit of a cop-out, but you could just say to him, look, man, there's plenty of tutorials online.
No, I will teach him. I will at some point because I feel so guilty. But of course I will at some point. It's also I've just gone, I want to get into this production stuff and do all this stuff now too, and buying synths and doing all this other stuff because I've got to keep myself motivated and engaged because what else am I doing during my days? You know, there's
Yeah.
a lot of time off when you're a DJ, but with the traveling, during summer it killed me. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Didn't have a lot of time off.
One thing that kind of sucks about down here is we don't have any retail places to buy things. That's what sucks.
Yeah, and I'm like, I need it now.
Yeah, I know. You're like, oh, you can just get it online. You're like, no.
No, I want it now.
No, yeah.
So, DJ City's been great for that because it's in Dandenong, so it's quite close.
They don't
but
always have everything in stock.
That's correct.
I've even gone there a couple of times and it says on the website it's in stock and you get there and you're like, oh, they out the back for ages. So now I'll call and just make sure it's definitely there.
Well, I got a call to say something was in that I'd ordered in because, and I went there and they'd sold it. That's fine. No, they're good guys. They're all good. But yeah, store DJs generally where I would go because I have to go to Chapel Street for my haircut. I can't let anyone else touch my hair but a bearded man. There's a plug. They're my barbers I've been with for 10 years.
Just sort of under Revolver there?
Yeah. I've been there for since, well, obviously I lived in Windsor around the corner, but I don't let anyone else touch my hair. So, because, most people don't think I have hair because I'm always wearing a hat, but there's a quiff under here.
There you go. The bearded man. Good plug for the bearded man.
Yeah, they're the best.
But I love everything about being down here. But that is one thing that kind of irks me.
Yes.
But everything else, man, I'd just recommend it to anybody who's lived in the city. Yeah.
Do it. Get the hell out of there. Because, and that was part of me getting the new car as well, was that I'm driving to the airport so much. I had a little baby Yaris for a long time, or a scooter before that. Remember I was driving around a scooter everywhere, which is very not great for my chest.
This was the old days of not the scooters we have now.
No,
the petrol scooter.
No, this was it was a like a moped, right?
Yeah,
Yamaha Biwi. Which got stolen while I was DJing. And I was like, that's probably a good thing because I probably would end up getting killed on this thing. So it's probably for the best. My parents were very happy about that. But yeah, through DJing, I was able to kind of buy a car, because it's a business expense. And it's, just hooning down the highway. It's great because there's not a lot of there's more and more traffic now, but, at 3 p.m. or whatever, don't come home then. But
no, but that's the only thing. As long as you're not going at peak hour, it's fine.
Yeah, I was at this gig. I had to do 2 till 3 on the weekend, which killed me. And then drive home. That's the thing. It's like, oh my God. But there was not a soul on the road. It was just, this is food.
You've got to be careful though. I've done that before and then you miss your exit.
I miss it all the time.
Yeah,
I know.
Just your zone out.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah. But I'll always listen to a podcast on the way home. No music.
Yeah, right.
I've had too much music.
Yeah, you don't need that because then when you get home, you can't sleep.
So I'll be very excited to listen to this podcast.
I know, looking at your resume and knowing you for a long time, I know that you've done some huge supports.
Yeah.
Who are some, and their list is long. You've worked not only with the R&B Fridays thing, which I think now it's just called Fridays, isn't it?
Fridays Live, yeah.
Fridays Live.
Yeah.
With that, some huge names, but also on a solo level, you've also supported some big names. You want to tell us about some of your favourites?
Sure. So Dizzy Rascal was my first one, and that was insane. But I remember rocking up to the gig in Sydney, and they're like, "All right, well, where's your turntables?" And I went, "What? What do you mean?" They're like, "Well, we were told you to bring your own." I went, "Oh, I don't have turntables. What do you mean?" This is 2007 because I was at Sneaker Freak and we brought him into the office as well and gave him a whole heap of Nikes that he just didn't really care about, to be honest. But
he had a deal with Nike.
Yeah, he had that song out. Well, Trainers by the Truckload. So he eventually someone on the team got some turntables, and I remember because it was my first ever support that I'm a fuckwit. I decided, you know what? I'll play Fix Up, Look Sharp, get everyone in the mood. Maria, why you do this? And I just remember Semtex, his DJ. Have you met Semtex before? He's a one-arm DJ. He's incredible. He's very well known in the UK. He's massive. And he came stomping over with his one arm and just went, "What you fucking doing?" And I went, "What?" And he's pulled my Serato out and I was just like, "Oh, fuck, what have I done?" He goes, "Get off the fucking stage." I was like, And I walked off stage and Dizzy's in the wings, pissing himself laughing, just going, "That was fucking hilarious. I loved it. And I went, "I am so sorry." He goes, "Nah, that was priceless. I loved it. Thank you so much." I'm like, "Oh my God, never again." So that was my first experience.
You should have played the Bill Squires and that would have and that could have just teased them.
Yes, absolutely. What an idiot. So anyway, that was my first experience. But then, Missy Elliott, obviously, because look at me, I want to be Missy.
She was the other
brilliant.
day, so far ahead of her time.
Oh, fuck. Unfortunately, on the tour that I supported, because she was playing at Park Live, then she did one show at Metro. And I remember them calling me the Favela Boys, Opulent, they were running the show and saying, hey, we've got some news, but I don't know who you're with. You can't say a word. You have to keep it to yourself. I went, what? What is this? And they're like, you're supporting Missy Elliott. And I was just going, the silent scream, and just because I couldn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
Which is hard for me. Mouth from the south, they call me. So I was like, fuck, what am I going to do? So anyway, I ended up supporting her, but she was going through her health issues at the time. So she had most of her dancers do the stuff. And I became quite really good friends with her DJ, Freestyle Steve, who ended up DJing with Justin Timberlake and Timberland. And they were all like, you need to be in the States. What are you doing here? Like, we don't see performers like you. Because I was DJing in between. You'd never guess. This lineup was like Mixmaster Mike.
Wow, yeah.
And then me and then Missy. But what was great was Mixmaster Mike was in his dubstep era and was just playing full dubstep.
Oh,
and the
wow.
crowd were there to see Missy, and they were like very urban.
Yeah.
So by the time I got on and was playing Salt and Pepper and all this stuff, they were gagging for it. Look, I'm a massive fan of Mixmaster Mike, and I saw him when he was out with the Beastie Boys at Greville Records and was just like, you are an alien, like you're insane. But he did me a kind of a favour that night. But met him, he was so gracious as well, and everyone was just so wonderful going, come to the States, man, we'll get you so much work. Missy was so lovely to me. It was a real turning point for me.
Yep.
Kind of affirmed that I could do this on a bigger scale.
Yeah.
But I never kind of did. I never went overseas, but that might change next year. I'll see.
Oh, nice.
Something might come up, so we'll see. But I just was so adamant on, like, I don't know, just I love Australia. I love being here, and I love being able to tour with the artists that come here. I'm really fortunate. Robbie Williams I did in summer.
Which is huge.
How? Why? What?
Was he nice?
He was awesome. He was very sweet. We didn't really catch up or anything. It was very hidden away. I think he had Robbie COVID, he called it. So everyone was very sick on that tour. But again, it was another one where I was like, a lot of the artists, because there was the guy from Super Gras, was his opening act, was myself, another act, then him, and then Robbie. And they were all like, oh, what are you going to play tonight? And I was like, hang on, you're all playing the same set. I was just going to play the same set because I worked out I'm going to play some UK soul, some mashups, some bootlegs, some stuff like that. And they were loving it so much. They're like, we want to hear what you're playing tonight. So I had to make a different set for every night, which is what I would generally do.
But your big stage show.
But big stage shows, because you've got cues, because you've got a lot of elements around you, it's easier just to have that one set, which I didn't know about. And I don't generally do that. But I was like, well, if the DJ's...
That's stadium stuff, though.
Yes,
So it's
yeah, absolutely. But I'll always do it live, always live. So I was like, no, you know what? This is a challenge. Yeah, let's do this. So every night I was coming up with a new show. And I was pretty much playing for his security team, for his crew, because they were having a fucking time of their life.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's a really hard gig. You're starting off a show that goes, because it was a day on the green, so it was like a 6-7 hour gig. Yeah. And I got a lot to get through. So it was just keeping them happy. But I'm like, that's my job.
Yeah, for sure. So that one's definitely a highlight.
Yeah, definitely. And that was the most recent one, Robbie. I played with Lady Gaga before, the week before the album came out. So she came here for a promo tour at Rats. Remember Rats in the city? And DJ'd before her and watched her and go, who the fuck is this performer?
Did you know she was going to blow up?
I know. Oh, yeah, after that show. Yeah, absolutely. I was like, she's going to be huge. And she was in some janky outfit that she'd made herself, you know what I mean? No airs about her, no nothing. It was just here to promote this album. Let's hope it goes well.
I want to find the flyer that says Lady Gaga at Rats this week.
Yeah, try and find it. Yeah, exactly. So that was fucking cool. And I mean, yeah, as I said, Janet Jackson. Insane. That's the R&B Fridays tour. Some of the artists I got to perform with, and I really actually enjoyed the Vine Days ones because they're a lot more intimate, and there was only 3 artists and myself, and we'd all kind of band together. And I found the UK artists are very much all about music, and they want to discuss the music and the lighting, and they're very technical about stuff, whereas the US artists were very much more kind of about the show and just very much where are the girls at kind of thing. So I kind of hung out more with the UK artists. I was very into learning from them, and
for sure.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It must be a spin out when you do those gigs, and a lot of the people that you've played their tracks week in, week out, then you get
Bro.
Yeah.
I had a discussion with KG and was it KG? Well, I'm not sure who was Naughty by Nature's DJ that tour, the first tour I did, and I was wearing like a Phillies like a baseball shirt, and I remember being out in the crowd and we were watching Usher, and one of them came over to me, I think it was KG, and he goes, "What you know about Phillies?" And I went, "Oh, like Philadelphia funk, like yeah, Questlove, The Roots, Will Smith, you know, but all this stuff." And he goes, "Oh," because they like looking at me like, "Who's this chubby white chick guy, whatever it is, on this tour?" They don't know who the fuck I am. But throughout the tour, because we're there for 2 weeks touring Australia, they kind of cotton on to the fact that I know my shit, and I'm not just playing music and fucking around on stage and being over the top. And he was just like, "Oh shit, you know yourself." And I went, "Bro, I was playing your music when it was brand new in the club." He goes, "How the fuck old are you?" And I went, "I'm 50. They're like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're all the same age." They're just thinking I'm some 25-year-old kid that I've just been thrown on this tour to kind of just fill the air.
Yep.
I went, "No, I have a job too. You know, I have a very important job here that I'm doing that I find, you know." And I'm not going over to the artists having conversations and being in their face because you don't want to be unprofessional. No. But if they're going to talk to you, yeah. And I have had many conversations like that on those tours. Craig David's manager and I were having a chat about his record company that he had. I went, "Mate, I've got half of those records." He goes, "What do you mean? They're so old." I went, "Yeah, I used to work on a record store in the 90s, blah, blah, blah." And he's like, "Oh, so you know what you're doing." And I was like, "Eh."
So you think a lot of people just judge you at face value and go, they've just put this chick on there to dance around, she doesn't know her shit.
Yeah, and then you can see, and it's at most gigs that I've done, like events and stuff like that too. You'll have generally men, sorry to say it, but that will be like, "What the fuck?" And then I know I'm going, "You're going to love me by the end of the show. You're going to be in love with me." And eventually, because I'm in on the joke, I know what I'm doing. Yeah. I'm having a mad time and being an idiot, but that is a performance. And I'm actually underneath it, very serious musician that knows their shit.
Yeah.
But I'm doing what I know to do on stage, which is perform.
Yeah.
And a lot of artists want to be cool. I've never wanted that because it's not me. No. Inadvertently, I'm cool for being uncool, you know? Or maybe not. I don't care, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's an inadvertent, no, it's intentional. I think I know, but it's seeing them come around because so many times I'll have so many people going, "You fat fucking bitch," or whatever, some
really?
bullshit. Oh, mate.
Just
especially
piss
like
guys,
race at the races and stuff like that, you know, at the any sporting event you'll get it. Yeah. And I've played a lot of them. And I'll be like, "All right, mate, whatever." And then if you give it back, they're just like, "What?" You know, and I'm like, I know what's going on. I'm not stupid. Yeah. And then they'll be like, "Ma, you're the fucking best. Put off a photo." And you're like, you know, and you've got to just go, "Yes, darling, of course." But you're just like, fuck off. But, you know, I've had so much hate in my life and that just drives it.
Yeah. It's the thing is when you cop those drunk punters being dickheads, I always think they're going to the next day regret everything that they've said.
Well, they're not going to remember any of it.
If they remember it at all.
They don't give a shit. They don't remember. And I know that, but I remember. Yeah. And so I've seen them again and I'm like pretty ruthless in telling people how they act, especially drunk people, because I never really drunk or did drugs or any of that stuff. Yeah. And I'm just like watching these people make fucking fools of themselves. I'm like, "You idiots."
Yeah, for sure.
Because you got to go home with this. And, you know, there's a lot of, you're putting this shit on me because you've got problems, not because of me. Yeah. You know, I'm pretty solid in myself and secure. That's fine. Whatever you got to say, I've heard it all. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, there's a lot more love that comes my way, though. So
for sure.
I'm not going to, you know, concentrate on that shit.
No.
But it does happen.
For sure.
And a lot of female DJs go through a lot of shit, you know, whether it's sexism shit, whether it's, you know, I mean, for me, I then had to kind of cope with ageism too, which I didn't think was going to happen. I thought it would be like the sexuality stuff and like the way I looked or something, but it was the age, like, you know, you're not relevant anymore. And that has happened directly to me from a certain promoter, which I will never name because I don't name and shame people, but it has happened and it really shook me. It really rocked me. I was like, "Oh shit, this is it. I'm done. I can't DJ anymore."
But were they coming at you because they wanted you to be relevant to the point that you're still pulling a crowd? Like, is that
possibly
where it came from?
No, but I was pulling a crowd. I had people coming to see me that weren't relevant for the club. And it was told to me while I was DJing. And I never look at my phone when I DJ, but I had my phone with me because I wanted to make sure that they were going to get in. They didn't have to line up. So I was like making sure they'd be, and then this message came through and I was just like, I really just wanted to at that moment stop and leave, but I'm professional because I was so hurt because I brought so many people to this club and I've been playing there quite a long time. And I felt so shamed and I was like, this is fucked. Like, I've never felt like this before. And so I went home and I thought about it and I just went, I'm just going to slowly remove myself and just...
You didn't say
No.
to the individual?
No, they
Come
never
from
knew.
the promoter or the owner?
Well, might have been both.
Okay, yeah, right.
I'll tell you off camera.
Yeah, I reckon, yeah.
And it was hard because I really, really respected these guys and loved them and, you know, and respect what they do, definitely. But, yeah, it was really, really sad moment for me because I'd never experienced anything like that.
It's like when someone younger says, you're old, and you're like, yeah, I guess I am. But
I wasn't ready to be, you know, at that age because I was still doing heaps of gigs. But then I was like, oh, shit, am I deluded? Am I delulu here? Like, what's going on? Shit, maybe I do need to start thinking about other things.
Obviously.
And then it went...
But that's probably one thing where people do get judged for their age, and I think guys get judged a lot out the front of clubs, which, don't get me wrong, women cop it in every aspect of life.
No, you're right.
But guys, there's often times where guys would be like, you got to break up. We all just want to get into the place, but you got to be 3 and then 2, and
yes.
then can you hold hands with that girl? So
yes.
And that's pretty fucked.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's a lot of different aspects to this kind of segregation of like what is, because I'm not really into the club culture anymore. I mean, I certainly don't invite people from that. Like it made me realize I also knew where this club was trying to go in the sense of the kind of clientele they wanted. I did understand that, but at the same point I'm like, yeah, but I'm your headliner and I've been running this club or this party night for quite a long time. I was getting phased out anyway. I could feel it, and it wasn't a nice feeling. But it was the most beautiful, sweet revenge when they asked me to come and DJ after I'd gone back in the club, and I was like, no, I'm so busy. Sorry.
Yeah, but that is one sort of part that sucks about that whole scene is that they are just judging people at the door. Like, I know guys that wanted to go out on Sunday nights and they want to go to Love Machine because it was going off on a Sunday, and they would hold hands and pretend to be gay in the line so they would get in.
Gay for pay.
But that's the kind of where we're at, where people do judge them on at face value.
Yeah, you got a lot of pull at the front of the door. You know, got a mate in security at the Emerson, and he does the door stuff there. And yeah, I hear some stories, and like, you know, you have to be feel like there's no time and place for it anymore. Yeah. But and also because clubs are failing now, that you know,
it's a tough time for us.
It's a really tough time. And we've all felt it. Like, we've all felt it.
For sure.
It's a really weird time because I'm used to being quiet in winter, but it started way too soon for me. I was like, and my agent's like, yeah, you might want to start looking for other things. I was like, what? But I know the cycle this stuff works in, you know. Yeah. It'll come back around. And now, like, I go, oh, shit, my calendar's getting more and more booked out. I've got some really fucking exciting things coming up that I just cannot wait to, like, you know, tell people and also do.
Yeah. But you've always been very good at being on the scene of all the big events, whether it's, you know, Fashion Week or Grand Prix or whatever the events are, which are always happening, especially in Melbourne, all throughout the year.
I'm really lucky. I think because, you know, I think these clients that book me or these big agencies and event planners that book me, they understand that I'm going to get the job done. I'm going to give them exactly what they need. I'm going to be professional. I'm going to rock up on time if early. I'm going to be personable. And I'm going to do a really fucking cracker job. I'll get the crowd going. You know, and I did the Grand Prix with Vanessa Amorosi and Jet and I played before them. And that's the brief. Get them going. I'm like, well, I'm your girl, you know. And it's, you can tell, you know, and you get the feedback because I didn't realise this. Having a booking agent and a manager, these booking agents each week are getting feedback from the club, from the promoter, from the event about your performance.
Right. And they're passing it straight on to you.
Well, not a lot of the time they don't. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't. But I've had some negative stuff come my way, which is, I wouldn't call it negative, criticism, stuff to kind of consider because I'll always consider criticism. But generally, you know you've done a good, well, if you don't hear, you know you've done all right.
No news is good news.
Yeah. And then if you get rebooked, then you know you've done a great job.
For sure. And I guess having a good a big online persona helps with that. But I think a lot of these promoters think that just translates into punters, and it doesn't always work.
No, it absolutely doesn't, because what you're seeing online is a heightened version of yourself that if you can't carry that over into real life, then you're going to get sorely disappointed. And, it's so much easier to do something to a camera when you're by yourself than to have 100 or, 60,000 people all looking at you going, dance for me, come on, do something for me. And that's where I shine. And I mean, a lot of my team have been like, you got to get on social media more, you got to do more stuff. And I'm like, no, I'm a real life experience because I come from a theatre background.
But
right?
You were good on social media. You always have been.
Oh, yeah, I'm all right with it, but they want more. They always want more. You want to do so. Oh, you should do like just talk about your stories. And I'm like, I'll save that for a podcast.
But that's the thing. I saw a funny thing on Instagram the other day, and it's like this guy is pretending he's signed a record deal, and he goes, and now you have to make all these stupid 1-minute internet videos. And he's like, no, but I make music. Like, that's what you're going to do.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah, Amy Shark came out with a brilliant TikTok about like the same thing. I want you to do this and update your LinkedIn, and then while you're there, maybe jump on Grindr and do this and change. It's like that. It's relentless. But they understand what the business is and what, promoters are wanting, and they're just translating it to you. You can't get mad at your team for doing that. They're just trying to they want to market you more. And my first manager I had at Mushroom was like, think of the stories and the stuff you put online as currency. That's how I can sell you. Because they can see you doing stuff and being personable, and they get a real connection to you. I can sell that. And it's so that made sense. So I started getting more and more online, definitely. But I can't keep up with it.
No, it's a lot. And the thing is, for people like us that might have had our heads around Instagram in its infancy, it's changed so much now. Like, I went live just before you came in because I know that's what they want you to do.
Yes.
And because as soon as someone goes live that you're in friends, it pushes it to you.
Yes, that's right.
And that's something that when we were taking photos of fucking your coffee, that was not when Instagram started.
Yes.
It's really gone to a different place.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's all about live interaction now.
Yeah.
And like more and more, just more bombard you with more stuff,
Yeah.
Which is why we have such an anxious society now. Like, everyone's so anxious and depressed because they can't live up to the expectation.
Yeah.
So I like to be like, when I go into a real life situation, like DJing and live DJing, I want to translate what I've portrayed online exactly what I've portrayed offline.
They know exactly what they're in for.
And I think that that's what they're getting, and they do understand that. Whereas, yes, sometimes these TikTokers or Instagram people, a lot more secure just, at the camera rather than being in a live experience, because we've all got social anxiety now after COVID, there's elements of that.
But that's what I see happening, I think, with so many of these younger people on socials. They make themselves the commodity, and then they figure out what they're going to do with it. You see so many of these people where they try and do a podcast or they try and start a brand or something. They're like, we've got all these followers now. How do we fucking try and shoehorn it into some kind of thing?
Right, but you don't want
to... It's the wrong way to attack it.
Yeah, you don't want to bombard them, right? I don't want to be bombarded. As soon as someone's posting too much, I'm like, unfollow. Yeah. Or just mute for a bit because it's too much.
Snooze. Can you snooze on Instagram?
Yeah, I think you can mute. I think that's what it is. And listen to us oldies. How do you do it? What do you do? What's the gram?
Yeah, TikTok, I delved into that for a little bit, and then I feel like that makes you stupider as a person.
I think that's what they want. They want you to be stupid, and they want you to be dumb, and,
Consumer,
and I do that already live on stage, guys. So, come see me live. I don't need to really have a handle on that kind. Actually, to be honest with you, yeah, I'm different. I'm like, I can really, and that's what, wow, 5 thoughts right then. That's what live streaming was like for me, to be able to, project this personality in the DJing to a camera like this in our empty house.
Hard.
And it was really difficult. But then because I have the acting behind me, I know how to do it. And, but I'm much more suited to a live experience. Yeah. And that's what, for me, that's my relationship to the internet is the same. It's like, I'd rather come to a show and let's hang out at the show, and chat.
Real life stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
You've mentioned Mushroom a few times, and I know you work closely with them. Michael obviously was a huge, massive deal and started an empire, and that Matt has been, thrust upon is like that's a lot for somebody in their 40s to, or I think he's in his late 30s to take on.
Yeah. I mean, look, he was already, like, I was already working with him more than Michael. I rarely saw Michael. I saw him a couple of times at events. But Matt has always been, like, the guy that we all kind of work with or for because he had Elusive, which was his subsidiary because he wanted to start all the hip-hop and dance.
And he tried a few clubs.
Yeah, did the clubs and stuff. We did Hang Time. We did one in St Kilda. What was that? Pretty Normal? Pretty Please. That's right. Pretty Please. Yeah, look, I think I can't talk too much on it because look, to be honest with you, I'm like a DJ. I'm not so much in on the company business because I don't work there day to day. But it would be huge. It's huge. But I got to say, everyone's really fucking happy there and everyone's having the time of their lives. And he's managed to keep it going really, really well. And also stay true to that side where trying new things, trying new avenues of, how to produce live events. Like a lot of the, I did a show with Dirty Dancing, like a live interactive experience, and they're doing more of that kind of stuff too, which really whets my actor, what am I trying to say? Whets my actor what, mate? Yes, it whets my actor whistle. There you go. Yeah. So, I was able to do that. I DJ'd like for, thousands of people, all 50s music, which was fucking fun in character. And they've just done like Bridgerton, which is another live experience. They're doing all this kind of stuff too, where they can find and where they tried to find ways for me to kind of be in on those as well, because I know I do love that style of like theatre and stuff. And there's so many different avenues, with like the rock stuff and then the comedy and, it would be a huge undertaking.
Huge.
But as I said, most of the people that work there have been there a long time and they're all just band together. Mm-hmm. It's an incredible team of people, really talented and insanely hardworking.
For sure. I've been on Joe's case since I started this to get him on the show. So you're going to have to put in a good word.
I will, definitely. Yes. I just watched his one on Danny Rance. You know Danny?
He started to pop up because we had a few guests. But
yes.
I know of him, but I don't know him personally.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's an incredible dude and obviously made this incredible new life for himself through podcasting and like through his alcohol business. Yeah. And like, I've worked with him a few times doing promoting stuff, but I watched the one with Joe Nima and it's just like he's seen everything and done everything and working. And I get to work a lot with Joe because he ends up being my tour manager when we're on the R&B Fridays tours. Him and me and Fat Man Scoop, he kind of looks after us. Fat Man Scoop like? It's the best. He's like my big brother. The stories are insane. Like I remember being, because we do all the after parties and I remember like we always travel together and I was traveling with him and City of Mine, which is DJ City. He is Ashanti and Nelly's DJ, Ashanti and Ja Rule's DJ. And they were in the car we were going to an after party in, I can't remember what city it was, but it was really far away. So we were in the car for a while in the van and I was knackered. I was just like, because I'm doing 8 sets in the show and then the after party.
Yeah, so the performers and back to back have to do their set when you've got to fill the gaps and all the rest of it.
It was a lot. It was a lot that year because I did it by myself. And so, yeah, they were in the car and we were talking about who was the guy in Migos that got executed or died at the poker game?
One of them, Takeoff or...
The other one. Yeah. Yes. So they were talking about this whole murder and then they got on to like Biggie and Tupac. Now, both of them were around the time and Scoop is friends with them all. So he was telling some incredible stories about like New York back in the day and all the artists. Like everyone knows who he is and everyone works with him. And same with City. They're very well connected DJs. And so I'm just sitting there in the back pretending to sleep going, what? What is my life right now? Yeah. Like some of these stories you hear, and he's like a big brother to me, Scoop. Yeah. He's a consummate performer. He's whatever you need, he's going to do it to the nth degree. He's always looked out for me. He's always making sure I'm okay. And, they're really trying times on tour, like really hard. It's a really tough tour to do. And, you have to be mentally fit for it.
For sure.
And, to have that kind of solidarity because he's also doing a lot of stuff. So the two of us are kind of really pushing the workloads with like me doing the DJing stuff and him like hosting, but also doing all these little vignettes that they film beforehand that they throw in the show and stuff, and just whatever you need, he's doing it, you know.
Sure.
So he knows how to give people what they want, you know.
He's the ultimate hype man.
Ultimate. I don't want to be the ultimate hype woman. So
But it must be cool having him hype you up when you would have played his tracks like years and years, like, you know what I mean?
he's giving me a shout out. I've got a shout out from him, and you know, I've got so many things that I can use of his. Whatever you need, you know, if you need another shout out, just let me know. Blah blah. And yeah, I mean that's part of my Yo Mafia, and it's just him screaming. So it really, you know, amps up the set for me, which is great.
So you've said that there's some stuff coming up you can't really talk about. Can you tell us something that is coming up that you can talk about?
I don't know what I can and can't talk about. And I was actually going to message my manager before, but I was like, they're so busy all the time. Like, you know, you don't want to pressure them too much. But I'm doing I will say, because I'm pretty sure it's happening, I'm doing a new version, not a new version. I think there's a lot of DJs that have done this before, but I'm really excited. I'm about to go on tour in Australia and New Zealand with a very well-known comedian.
Okay.
So comedians generally will have like a comedian open for them. And there's a few DJs, and especially in the States where you have like Kevin Hart and Chappelle, they'll have their own DJ come and DJ because they love hip hop. And there's a guy in UK who DJs for this a comedian. And he's also Eve's DJ. And I met him at R&B Fridays. And he wanted to do like a VDJ set history of hip hop for this comedian for his new tours because he's doing Wembley and he's doing like massive stadiums. He's just done them. They're huge. And so he wanted to do like more video. And he goes, could you maybe, I just need Lose Yourself, the video. Have you got a high def? Yep. Send it away. And he's like, if I have any trouble, would you help me through the process of it? Absolutely, whatever you need. So I give him some tips and stuff. And he goes, you know, not a lot of DJs will give their shit up like that. You know, he goes, but I'm thinking this comedian's coming to Australia in so-and-so month, and I think he needs a DJ. I can't do it because I'm on tour with Eve. If I ask him, would you be yeah, sure, whatever. Thinking, yeah, whatever. The next day, the comedian's in my DMs. He's got millions of followers in my DMs asking me, don't know if it's this sort of thing you would do, but would you be down to maybe do what Martin does? I was like, yeah. Amazing. So I called my manager and she was so hyped because she loves this comedian. She's like, oh, we're making it happen. So I think that's in the process of getting locked in now.
Like stadium gigs here?
It'll be smaller gigs here, not stadium, but it'll be big events, like big shows and places I've probably not played before that I've always wanted to play at.
National tour?
National and New Zealand. Yeah, New Zealand, Wellington and Auckland as well. So there's about 15 dates.
Awesome.
And I think it's selling pretty well, if not sold out. So that'll be new. So I'll be DJing like the start of it and then in the interval.
Yep.
So again, it brings me to a whole new demographic of people, right, that you would never usually DJ to.
Great for your socials.
Great for socials. And I don't think there's any DJs doing that in Australia. So not that I can think of on that scale.
Yeah, for sure.
So
that's
pretty
cool.
Excited.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then potentially some other stuff coming up next year, but we can't really talk about.
Yes,
maybe overseas.
yes. Oh, and I'm doing Listen Out Festival, which is in September. So I'm on that lineup with God knows who else, all those amazing artists like Stormzy, and he's like, they've turned it into a 16 plus festival now, rather than 18 plus.
It was the last festival I ever went to when I was still going and having fun.
Right. So I'm pretty excited. I'm like, shit, I'm still getting put on these really cool festivals and being relevant. So I'm stoked about that. So that'll be awesome. Yeah. So I've got to work out my set for that one.
Yeah.
And yeah, there'll be so much coming up in summer. Ugh.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And more production stuff, hopefully.
Yeah, that's going to always progress, and hopefully I'll start. I mean, I've got stuff on my Bandcamp. I've got a couple of mashups out there already, and because you can't put anything on anywhere else.
Well, if it's on
Spotify,
Mushroom, I'm sure you probably could.
No, Spotify. Oh yeah, okay. Well, I don't think I'm going to do that yet. Like, I'm not really an artist on that level yet, but we shall see. You never know. So yeah, no, there's a lot going on. Always will be.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming in. It's been an awesome chat. You know, we've almost done 2 hours.
No shit. The lady that loves to chat. You
No,
know?
but it's you get two people that like to talk and you put them in the room together. We can.
I
talk
know,
shit
it's
for
true.
ages.
And it's been so good to see you again.
for
It's been
sure.
ages.
Yeah, I know.
I know.
Mafia, I appreciate you coming in, and I'd love to have you come back again, maybe later towards the end of the year when you can talk about stuff.
Absolutely. Let's do it. Lock it in.
Yeah, you're just down the road, so it's nice and convenient.
Yeah, perfect. Got another 2 hours to hang out.
Thanks for coming. I appreciate it.
Thank you, malpractice.
3,000.